The internet is used for pretty much anything and everything nowadays. Want to pay a bill? You should likely be connected. Order groceries, see a family or friend, apply for a new job, or potentially meet your future partner. The internet has, without a doubt, become an integral part of our lives, to the point that without it, well, I genuinely feel our society would be lost. How many cups of sugar are you supposed to use? What was the name of that guy who did that thing? The internet has certainly improved the quality of life for people all over the world, while also allowing us the opportunity to educate one another about things and information in general that wasn't universally available in the past. Today on Life's Biggest Questions, we're asking, what if the internet was never created? Smash that like button and let's get into it. Now, the internet as a whole is a pretty damn big deal. Life without social media or even Google would certainly change things as we know it. I mean, aside from obviously not having Google, that would also mean no YouTube, no Gmail, no Google Drive, and even of course no Android. Does that mean that the iPhone wouldn't have much competition? Well, if the internet wasn't around, the iPhone wouldn't even be a thought. Now, just because we wouldn't have the internet doesn't mean we wouldn't have cell phones. In fact, for a little while people had cell phones without much internet access, if any at all. And although we found a way to survive, it was tough. You can only play the same game on your mother's phone so many times. That being said, I'm now a pro at the game Snake. If you know the game, you know the game. But that's not the point here, guys. The point is, without the internet, life as we know it would be drastically different, and here's why. I think the biggest takeaway from this one would be not only the lack of social media, but lack of information. We're known as the information generation, because we could literally pull up the answer to almost any question simply by using our phones. We, as in my generation, the millennials, understand technology in a way that most boomers don't. Okay, boomer. And that's because we were kind of born into a generation where technology was just starting to take over, so we kind of grew up together. Naturally, this has made us very dependent on not only technology, but the internet in general. And to no surprise, if you were to take the internet away from a society which thrives off of it, well, things would certainly take a turn for the worst rather quickly. For starters, I'd be out of a job, so that's pretty rough. I don't like that. And I definitely wouldn't be the only one. Any YouTuber, influencer, social media personality, or TikTok star wouldn't be what or who they are today. But it seems the internet goes much deeper than that. For me personally, being born in '94, as I said, I quite literally grew up with the internet. Although it was technically created in the 60s, many people have January 1st, 1983 as the birth of the internet, and that's because it is. What they used in the 60s was a prototype of the internet in which the US government attempted to send a message from one computer to another and partially failed. Like, I think they tried to send the word login and only the letters L and O got over or something. But the idea was there. Fast forward to 1983 and the internet is a big deal, but still very new. Another 10 years later, or really just the 90s in general, and it seems the internet is being used quite often. Then the dot-com 2000 stock market bubble happened, and for good reason. Everyone knew that society was clearly heading in the direction of the internet. They just didn't know which dot-coms would be worth something. To no surprise, without the internet, none of that would have happened. But it seems the internet goes much deeper than just giving us information, or creating new careers for people all over the world, or potentially losing people a lot of money. Although many have argued that the internet is taking away from human connection, it seems a self-imposed experiment led one man to realize, as much as the internet appears to disconnect us from reality, it connects us more than we ever really could have imagined. Taking you back to an article written on May 1st, 2013 by The Verge's Paul Miller titled, "I'm Still Here, Back Online After a Year Without the Internet," well, he did just that. And after reading his opinion piece on life without the internet, in which he at first was under the common belief that without it, he'd be much better off, the reader quickly learns how complex the internet and how we interact with it truly is. For example, Paul explained how at first, as in the first few months of being internet free, he found his attention span had increased significantly. Reading 10 pages of a book prior was dreadful, and after a month or two, 100 pages of a book was a pleasure. And as great as things were at first, Paul slowly realized the negative habits that he felt were taking over his day-to-day life, in which he blamed the internet, were finding new ways of coming out, even though he was disconnected. For example, the idea of reading and going for long walks or bike rides diminished, and he found himself filling his time playing video games while listening to an audiobook or music in the background. Instead of mindlessly doom scrolling, he was mindlessly gaming. What really struck him was a conversation he had with his 5-year-old niece who lives in Colorado, while Paul is over in New York. While trying to explain the internet to her during a visit in which he wasn't online, he asked her if she ever wondered why he didn't Skype with her for the last year or so. Her response? "I thought it was because you didn't want to." Paul then explained with tears in his eyes that he spent a year without using the internet, but he's coming back now and he gets Skype with her again. The biggest takeaway I had from this article and from this video in general is that as great as the internet is for information or opportunity, it's allowed humans to be more connected than ever before. Maybe in person, physically, things have been negatively impacted, or so we think. When we connect online, we're still humans, we're still breathing, and we still feel. The internet has allowed us an opportunity to connect with humans all over the world in ways that wasn't possible before. And as much negative as it's brought with cyberbullying and cancel culture and who knows what else, all in all, it seems without the internet, we'd not only be less educated as a society, but much less connected to one another. As always guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one down below. For now, let's reply to some comments from the video. What if Lovecraftian monsters fought the SCP Foundation? Francisco Mercado said, Azathoth would destroy the SCP Foundation with a single thought. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Just to reply to this one comment, because there are other ones. It seems like a lot of you guys seem to think that Lovecraft's creations are like insanely more powerful than the SCP Foundation, right? And I understand that because they're gods and they're more than a god. We can't even comprehend what they are. But the SCP Foundation could be that as well. Like there's some that we don't even know what they are, and we just, from what we understand it to be, is what we describe it as. So who knows? Maybe Lovecraft's creations are SCPs. Code Clown said Scarlet King and SCP-434, basically God, could probably put up a good fight. Azathoth versus SCP-434 would be really interesting. Maybe we'll do it. If you guys want to see it, you want to see like the most epic battle of fictional creatures going at it, we got it for you. Good enough, right? Said, y'all are having all the fun right now. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, this video was a good one. This one's a doozy. Alright? So, let me get my thinking cap back on and I'll come out with some more great ideas. I don't know, I'm just having fun now, as you can tell. Alright guys, that's all for this one. I've been your host, Jared Bronstein, and we'll see you guys soon. I feel like I'm gonna get so hot in this hoodie, bro. I'm already sweating. Yeah, I'm already sweating. The pit stains are gonna be there for sure. It's alright though. You know the game, Snake? You know the game. You know the game, everyone does. I feel like it's like a millennial thing, like if you're born after the year like 98, you have no idea what I'm talking about.